Wacholtz here with the ClearPath Realty Group, and I am here with a special guest who I will introduce in a moment, or she will introduce herself in a moment. I've got Danielle Hill here. Danielle, who are you? What's going on? Why are you here with me right now? What do you do?
Well, I'm a mortgage agent, and so the brokerage that we're with, I'm with Neighbourhood Dominion Lending.
Okay.
And I run a small team within our franchise. So I have a full-time underwriter, Debbie, and then I have kind of a back-end specialist for all of our documentation, Mary Beth.
Okay, great. And how long have you yourself been a mortgage agent?
I've been in this industry for about 8 years now.
Okay.
But then prior to coming over as an agent, I worked with a major bank for a couple years.
Okay, and I know from my own sleuthing that this is not like you didn't just come to this, like, is there anyone else in the business that we might know of?
Yes, so my father's actually in the business as well, Gary Meager. He has been doing this for, it's got to be about 40 years now.
Oh my goodness, really?
Yeah, he's been in it for a very long time.
Wow.
And so it was funny because when I started working in the bank, like we would constantly kind of compare rates and everything and kind of call each other up. And it just got to the point where he was always able to do better. And he really just started to, you could just see that he's doing the best thing for his clients. And, that's one of the main reasons why I came over to the agent side.
Okay, that's really interesting to me because it's one of the questions I wanted to talk about. So because people go to their banks for mortgages and you get a mortgage through a bank eventually. Yep. What does a mortgage broker do?
Well, from our end, like we have all kinds of different lenders that we work with. And part of our specialization is really understanding the niches of all of our different lenders. So self-employed people, for example, very difficult to get those deals done just in general, but there are specific lenders that work very well with self-employed people. And so one of the biggest differences is at the bank, you kind of have your square that you have to fit in. And if you don't necessarily fit, then, working with a broker can be a great advantage.
Okay, because that was going to be, actually, you anticipated that. That was going to be my next question. I was going to ask you, what's the advantage of going through a mortgage broker or a mortgage agent like yourself or going directly to your bank? Like, which would you suggest that people do?
Well, I'm obviously going to say that you should work with a mortgage agent. But honestly, for me, I think it goes back to that education piece. Okay. So this is what we specialize in, and we really sit down with each client and say, what is it that you're really trying to accomplish? Is this about getting into your first property? Is this about accumulating more property and creating a pension plan for yourself? Is this about getting your mortgage paid down as quickly as possible? So by being an agent, we can really spend the time with the clients and figure out what is it that they're looking for.
And then you specifically go and you take all their data, all their information, and find a fit with a bank or a lending institution that's right for them and their scenario.
Yep, absolutely.
And so that speaks to your sort of thing about talking about a bank, saying that they have certain products that bank does.
Absolutely.
But then they cannot necessarily, the client might not fit with those products.
Yeah.
Okay. Square peg, hole, that kind of thing.
Exactly,
Okay,
exactly.
And now, this is a bit of a tricky question.
Okay.
How do you get paid?
No, you know what, that's a great question. And it's something that I always like to end my meeting with, is just making sure that clients really do understand how we get paid.
Mm-hmm.
So generally I'll tell people and say, we get paid two ways. So we get paid a referral fee or finder's fee from the lender to bring the business to them.
Okay.
So we get paid whenever the deal closes and the actual lender pays us. But for us, the second way that we get paid is really through referrals. So we don't advertise at all. We spend all of our time educating our clients, and in doing so, we help to earn their business and in turn, earn their trust of working with their friends and family.
That's awesome. I'm going to steal that answer for some of my stuff. Seriously, that was really, really cool. So, to kind of go to the nitty gritty of that though,
Sure.
The client doesn't pay you for your services directly. Like they pay for it in a certain way because they get paid through the bank, but however, they don't. It's not like call you and it's going to be this much of a fee.
No. So, and it's something where, we will get paid whenever it closes. There are people out there, and certainly we work with B lenders, and absolutely we get into private money. And if a client were to fit in that category, we are very upfront and we'll say, you don't necessarily fit over here. This is why. You might fit into this category, and this is what it'll cost.
Okay. Now let's go. You mentioned a little bit about self-employed people, and you said that they are more difficult to find a fit for. Now, so you do work with self-employed? You have certain programs for that?
Absolutely.
What about people with bad credit?
We do, and so that kind of fits into that second bucket. So I always kind of break it down into A, B, and C. So everybody wants to fit in the A space. That's your major lenders, that's your promotions, those are your best rates. But if something's missing, if maybe there's some bruised credit or something that has happened, then people would fit into our B category. Okay. That's when you'd start to get into some higher interest rates. That's when lenders would come back with some fees. But certainly those are people that we help out all the time.
Right now, as far as interest rates, currently, I mean, we're talking in sort of, end of January 2017, going standard rates, if we're talking A lender versus B lender, what can be the difference, like the differential between those two rates?
Well, to give you an example right now, a lot of the major banks, and TD Bank actually just dropped as well this morning, so a lot of major banks are anywhere between a 5-year fixed rate at 2.79 to 2.89. To give you an idea, a B lender could easily be close to 4 to 4.5%.
Okay, so it's a couple percent more.
It could be a couple percent more, but if it's the difference between, having to wait another year versus getting into a home, a lot of times it's still worth to get in and maybe do a 1-year term at some higher rates. Right. We fix credit, we work on it, and then we can move over to the A space.
This is sort of what you're talking about, of going what's right for the person and their situation, which is why you spend some time with them to find out their scenario.
Exactly.
Okay, so that would totally make sense for me. Now, if I was going to have a first meeting with you, I know that you probably want to find out some information, but are there specific documents that are necessary when you're meeting with a mortgage agent?
I wouldn't say there's necessarily documents that you have to bring in, but the more you have, the more accurate of a pre-approval we can give you.
Okay.
So oftentimes we'll say, okay, let's get the application ahead of time. That way we can be prepared for the meeting. We'll ask clients to bring in, generally it's going to be your last couple years tax returns.
Okay, so make sure your taxes are up to date.
Exactly, that's a crucial one. And by bringing those documents in and by really being able to see those numbers, then we're not guessing on what the accountant has written the income down to. We can see the actual numbers and then give a very accurate number.
Okay. So moving on here, I got a couple more questions.
Okay.
What's the one thing that people should know about mortgages but they usually don't? I'm gonna stump.
I know, you're gonna stump me. I guess one of the biggest things, and especially in today's rate environment, I feel like everyone gets so caught up on rate, and they don't necessarily realize that a very small difference in the rate, like it really doesn't turn out to be a massive difference in the big picture.
Right.
And oftentimes lenders can promote these really low rates, but they actually have some fine print in there that isn't always consumer friendly.
Right.
And so sometimes it can be difficult when someone's looking for like the absolute lowest rate possible, and they're not really taking the time to realize that, it's probably not the best product, especially when life can change so quickly and you think you're not going to move, and then 3 years later you do.
Right. So really, like, one of the things is read the fine print, people. All mortgages are not created equal, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Do you have any recommendations on websites? Like, if people are starting to educate themselves, any websites that they might go to? Like CMHC?
Yeah, all the insurers, so CMHC, Genworth, Canada Guarantee, they all have fantastic websites. They're a great resource. I know the major banks that they have fantastic websites as well. You can find online calculators just about anywhere now.
I know. Is there, if I were to go to your website, for example, is there a wealth of information there?
Yeah, we have all kinds of information on closing costs, on purchasing your first home, if you're separating and what that could potentially look like.
And so if they wanted to go to your website,
Yep,
Give it to
so
us.
on our website, it's www.ndlc.ca.
NDLC.ca.
Yes.
Okay, great. Now, how does someone find a mortgage broker or a mortgage agent?
Oftentimes, I find in this day and age, people use Google. A lot of times, people are referred to somebody through their friends and family.
So you'll know someone, they'll be your friends.
Generally, I find that's what people have.
Okay, so about how big your referral business is, like, what would you say? New business versus referral business, what percentage?
I would say that I'm probably 90% referral. That's
would
really, and knowing that that's our business, that's why we continue to strive to always make sure that we do the absolute best thing for the client.
Awesome. And now, how does someone get in touch with you? I mean, you've said your website, but is there like email or phone number that you want to share?
Yeah, so people can give us a call at 416-572-1378, or they could just send me a quick email at Danielle@ndlc.ca.
Awesome. Now, one final question is there a book that you would recommend that everyone should read in the next 90 days?
You know what, that's so interesting because I have actually been doing a lot of reading lately, and my favorite, and the one that was really kind of a game changer to me, it's older, The Millionaire Next Door.
The Millionaire Next Door.
That one by far has made an impact, and it really has you stop and think about your finances and think about how you're living and where your money's going.
And where you want to be.
And what's your big picture.
Okay, perfect. So we're not done yet. After the little break here, something's going to come up. I don't know what we'll put there. But we're going to have a little lightning round and some fun. So Danielle.
Yes.
Here we go.
Okay.
Quick questions. Dogs or cats?
Dogs.
Beaches or the beach?
Beaches.
Favorite color?
Blue.
King West or Queen East? Ooh.
King West.
Mark Wahlberg or Donnie Wahlberg?
Mark.
Woo! Diamond shreddies or square shreddies?
Square.
Modern loft or funky Victorian?
Ooh, modern loft.
Okay, and last question, and you have to answer this question
Okay.
truthfully.
Okay.
What is the caramel secret as you know it?
I don't know. I don't know.
You don't know what the caramel secret is?
No.
You don't have any guesses?
She's
holding out on us, people.
like a pushing it in somehow.
Like a pushing it in somehow. And on that note, thank you so much, Danielle. That was a lightning round.
Thank you.